Okay, we have a quorum.
Yes, is Barry still going to miss 2 weeks?
2 weeks, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Here you go.
It's now, for the audience, 13:30 hours. We're ready to start our Transportation Subcommittee meeting. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Representatives Carr, Darby, Glenn, Harris, Hazelwood, Howell, Marsh, Pearson, Russell, Sherrill, Towns, Vital, Wright, Chairman Whitson.
Here.
Chairman, you've got a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Members, any personal announcements or orders? I have one. I'd like to recognize 3 distinguished gentlemen and friends in the audience today. They're veterans with 10 vets. We have Steve Singleton, the United States Navy veteran, Bill Summers, United States Air Force veteran, and I can't say my favorite, but an Army veteran, Howard French. Thank you. So we have a pretty full agenda today, so let's get started. Excuse me, Joel. Okay. I want to make sure I do this right. So for item number 1, we have House Bill 2752, and we're going to recognize the chairman from Lowellville, Tennessee. Chairman Hastings, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
2742, my correction. Let's make sure we
correct.
get this.
Thank you.
And we do not have an amendment on this bill.
No,
Okay. Sir, you're recognized.
Thank you. This bill was brought to me from my local government in Perry County. It adds some ATV eligible roadways within Perry County on parcel sections of Highway 412, State Route 128, and State Route 13. With that being said, I know Department of Safety came by and we chatted about this yesterday, and I know that they may have some ideas and some thoughts on some things that they're working on in the future. So I stand for any questions, or if they want to have any comments, or I'll be glad to sit here and listen to their expertise.
And did you say safety concurs with this?
No, well,
No, I just
would
want to make
not.
sure I heard it correct.
If I technically am not lying, if you heard that, then you heard that. But no, they were not. This is usually something that they would like to see maybe done more uniformly in the future. I think it's something that they're looking at maybe doing. But I would let them speak on it before I speak for them.
Okay. Without objection, members, we're going to go out of session. And I'd like to call the Department of Safety come up. Young lady, would you identify yourself and your position?
Elizabeth Stroker, Legislative Director for the Department of Safety. And thanks to Chairman Haston. As we spoke, whenever we were here, I think last week or the week before, you heard Colonel Perry and myself talk about how doing this piecemeal approach for ATV legislation is just not efficient and nobody knows where they can and can't go. So we're working on a bill. Representative Grills has a bill that would make it uniform across the state. And we're using that as a starting point for over the next 4 or 5 months to come up with something we can put into place to just make it uniform where you can and cannot drive these vehicles, as opposed to doing this at a half mile or a mile at a time. And so we're hoping to have that ready for you all next session. And so until that gets put in place, we're asking that any of these other smaller pieces of road just kind of be held off until we can get that standard put in place.
So to be clear, you're recommending that we hold off on this legislation until y'all complete that?
Yes, sir. If that is amenable, obviously, to everyone here.
Okay. Members, do we have any questions for safety? Representative Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Safety. So the ones that we have already passed, what will happen to those particular ones?
Yes, sir. So that is something we'll have to figure out. And so the reason why we're saying it probably won't happen this session is, one, we're pretty late into it, but we also have to go back, and I've looked at the ATV code so many times it makes my head hurt, but it is very complicated to read and decipher what types of vehicles can be driven where and when. And so we have to go back and look at, okay, do we just grandfather in all these other ones? Can we just include it into what we do? And so that's all something we're still trying to figure out. And we mentioned in the full committee when we presented either last week or the week before that it'd be something we would come and talk with the committee about and let them know we're doing research with every other state in the country to kind of see what the best option is, but we're still up in the air on how that would work as well.
Representative Quinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the problem is fairness, though, at this point, because I think if I recall right, we passed one about 2 weeks ago that allowed a member in his county to use, a certain amount of road for 2 weeks out of the year, and now we're talking about denying a member of similar, who's asking a similar thing. So I'm just wondering about the fairness of it.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was making sure I was recognized. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that one came up, I guess, the first week of session, and it was something we had worked on last year with that particular sponsor as well. And they narrowed it down to roads that were already in existence for ATV use, just removing that weekend requirement. So you're right. If that one had come a little later in session, we probably would have asked, hey, let's hold off until we can get this done. But we didn't. It just came so quickly that we hadn't started this conversation yet. With it started on the Senate side and then subsequently went over whenever Representative Grills came to us about his bill that would expand it statewide. So it just, with timing, that's how it worked out.
Representative Gwynn? Chairman Howe?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the committee would agree that we've had kind of a piecemeal approach to this. And we've had to talk to safety many, many times. I like the idea of a standardized approach. I think that's fair to everybody. I would hate to see anybody that we've approved go back and be disallowed. I would really hate to see that. So if I'm reading right, you're recommending a true summer study for this issue to correct it going forward. Is that right?
Yes, sir. And that is what we promised you all a few weeks ago in the full committee. And it's what we have promised. I keep saying Representative Grills' name, but he's the one who really got us to look into this more seriously. And so we've already started it. We've already got responses back from 30 states. And so we're quickly gathering data, and we hope to have something really good that we can present to y'all before next session.
So I would assume then the chairman would be able to bring his bill back, and hopefully it would fit within the parameters of what the standardization is.
Safety?
Hopefully, potentially, yeah.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Yes, I just, anything else for safety? Okay, without objection, we're going back in session. Chairman Haston, I just feel like I really hadn't received the information on like the distance, the challenges for this particular route. Would you be willing to, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm at the will of the committee, whatever's easiest. If there's already a vehicle that has something going towards summer study on this, I'm fine. If this needs to be taken off notice, whatever is the easiest path, I'm at the discretion of the chairman and the committee. But I'm for getting something that's more universally applied in the state, so we don't have to do this time and time again.
And we have a history wanting to support these because we understand the importance of the economic importance but also we have to look at the safety aspects of it. So I think it's important we have a uniform standard to operate under. So I understand you want to take this off notice.
That'll be fine.
Okay, without objection.
Thank you, Chairman Committee.
Number one is off notice. Okay. Members, item number two, bear with me, getting over a cold. Item number 2 has been rolled 2 weeks. That brings us up to item number 3, Leader Camper. Oh, okay. But Leader Camper will be here, and there she comes. We have a motion and a second, and we have the distinguished lady from Shelby County and Chief Warrant Officer, United States Army, retired. You're
Cool.
recognized, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members. This bill, House Bill 2827, is a veterans license plate bill. It increases from 1 to 2 the number of free plates that the holders of Purple Heart and Disabled Veterans Memorial Plates are eligible registrants that may receive. It authorizes eligible registrants to receive every additional plate after 2, but by paying the regular registration fee. So the first 2 will be free, and then if they want more, they have to pay for it. It provides a second Purple Heart or Disabled Veteran plate issued prior to the effective date of this bill, which would be July 1st, 2024. And it's not subject to the regular registration and renewal fees going forward. We have some people to testify. I think you have his name. I'd like for him to come up if the committee so desires to talk about this and a little history about how we used to have these two plates. And at one point, when the state was in a situation fiscally, it was reduced from 2 to 1. And all we're trying to do is reinstate it back to the 2 plates. I'm also working with the governor, hopefully, to get it included in his supplemental budget to hopefully give me a letter to say that he would include this in his supplemental budget so it can be paid for. So we have Stephen O. Singleton, Commander, U.S. Navy, that's here to testify if the committee would so desire.
Members, without objection, we're going to go out of session. And I'd like to call up the witness, Mr. Bill, Steve Singleton of the United States Navy. Would you please come up and, again, identify yourself and your position in your organization. And we have a 3-minute rule for testimony, sir.
Honorable ladies and gentlemen, my name is Steve Singleton. I represent TenVet. That's an organization that was formed as a result of this particular bill we're talking about back in 2014. We represent 10 veteran organizations throughout the state of Tennessee. 2014 was kind of a landmark year because that was the year that the veterans, 100% disabled veterans, property tax was cut, and this license tag bill was changed from 2 free tags to 1 tag. And we kind of had to do a little bit of forensic study on why this happened because there wasn't a real clear explanation as to why it was changed from 2 to 1 in 2014. The proposal to change it back, restore it back to 2 has been on the books in every session since 2014. And usually it gets to the fiscal note and it gets put behind the budget. And as Representative Camper represented, we're hoping to be a little bit more successful this year in getting that accomplished. Now, the trade-off on this, as far as dollars are concerned, we never did understand until just a few years ago what caused this situation. We went back and looked. Strangely enough, the same year, a bill was proposed to provide a free license tag to Valor recipients. In other words, Silver Star, Bronze Star recipients. No issue with that at all. But when we looked at the fiscal note said no fiscal impact. How can you have no fiscal impact if you're providing free tags to another group? There was also a comment within the fiscal note which said a study should be done to look at what our adjacent states are doing as far as their benefits for our veterans. Well, the reason why there was no fiscal note attached to that was because the money from that second disabled veteran license tag was used to pay for those Valor tags. Now, we have varying numbers, and of course you can imagine the number of disabled veterans go up from year to year. Sometimes they go down, but we've got about 8,000 to 9,000 100% permanent and totally disabled veterans that take advantage of that tag. There are 1,300 Valor recipients. That's not exactly an even trade-off. So in the long run, the state ended up making money in that. Now, every year we have to come forward and ask for this bill to be put forward. We have always asked that it be put forward as a restoration of a benefit, which the legislation found favorable prior to 2010, but we can't do that because part of that money was used to fund the Valor tag. Like I said, this is the 8th year we've done that. I think this is my 2nd or 3rd time testifying before this subcommittee. Always been favorable. We just need the governor to get behind this and give us the few dollars that we need to get it back.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Singleton. Do we have any questions for our witness? Representative Towns, you're recognized, sir.
I'm sure. Thank you for your testimony, as well as thank you for your service and all the members that you represent. How much money are we talking about?
Mr. Singleton?
The fiscal note, it's strange because that fiscal note bounces up and down. It's less than $300,000. We went back and looked from 2017 up to 2023, and the number goes up and down, which really doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the number of disabled veterans has been going, especially since the PAC Act was implemented a couple of years ago. The numbers are going up, but I don't think the number has been over 300,000.
Well, don't feel bewildered because we don't understand fiscal notes ourselves. And is that recurring? Is that every year, annually, or is it just be one time?
Sponsor or witness?
The note we have for the 2023 said a decrease in state revenue of $285,500 fiscal year 23 through 24 and subsequent year highway fund, and $5,800 fiscal year 23 through 24 and subsequent years.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
I appreciate
Any
it.
other questions? Okay, Chairman Lowell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say thank you to you for supporting this bill. Thank the veterans, and I think that as many tags as they want, they should be able to get it for free for the service that they've done for our country. And we probably need to go out there and put the tags on their vehicle for them. So thank you.
Absolutely. Come on, brother. Come on.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else? Okay, without objection, we're going back in session. Leader Camper, you're recognized, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. I'd also like to thank Mr. Summers and Mr. French for all the hard work you all have done on this over the years. And I agree with you, Chairman Russell, that this is the least we could do for those who've done so much for us. So with that, I appreciate a favorable vote.
Okay, Representative Towns,
And that includes you, what you've done.
and I second that. So
Thank you.
I was scared of warrant officers when I was a lieutenant. Should be still, I guess, right? Okay, members, we're now, without objection, we're going to vote on House Bill 2827. All in favor of moving House Bill 2827 to full transportation, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Bill moves out. Full transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, members, House Bill number 4 has been rolled 1 week. Item number 4 has been rolled 1 week. That's House Bill 2175. Item number 5, House Bill 1612, has also been rolled 1 week. That brings us up to item number 6, House Bill 2305 by Chairman House. Sir, you are recognized. You have a motion and a second.
It's my lucky day, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Committee, this bill was brought to me by the County Clerks Association of Tennessee, and what it does is tighten up a loophole regarding antique, some people call them vintage vehicle license tags. The current code, which is now the law of Tennessee, allows an antique vehicle to be driven on the road with an antique license tag, which reflects the year of the vehicle. However, those type tags are not registered. They're not traceable with the state, and it has an impact on law enforcement if, say, there's a hit and run or they're speeding, the law enforcement officer can't trace the tag and doesn't know who he's dealing with ahead of time. The caveat to that, the owner can have the regular tag inside the car, but it doesn't do law enforcement any good when it's inside the car. So we need to just reverse it. And so the clerks brought this. The bill requires that a regular, identifiable, traceable license tag be on the vehicle if it is being driven on the roads. The antique tag can then be placed on the vehicle when it gets to the car show. I'm sure you guys have car shows, things in your district. I have several every year. So they can remove the regular traceable tag, put their antique tag on it as long as it's there at the car show. If they drive it away, they have to put the other tag on. If it's on a trailer, they don't have to put the traceable state tag on. That's what the bill does.
Okay, Chairman, Speaker Marsh, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Chairman Howell, can they use these tag flippers to do that?
Chairman Howell.
Let's see. It depends on if that other flipper bill passes the floor. If it doesn't pass, I guess they could.
Hey, anyone else? Okay. Members, now we're voting on House Bill 2305 to send it to full transportation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Bill moves out to full transportation. Members, that completes our calendar. Do I have a motion for adjournment? Motion. We are adjourned. Good job, Amanda.